So wonderful to see you. So wonderful to connect. And I want to talk to you about an important thing on my heart. My name is Chaim. Male spin Chaim means life. And I want to talk to you about from the trenches of war to the throne of grace. And, gathering together, having the freedoms that we have is a privilege. It really, truly is. I know that every veteran you'll meet will tell you freedom is not free. It costs everything. You have to give everything for the freedoms that we have. And I've been serving to defend those freedoms in Israel as a good shepherd. We're supposed to follow the good shepherd, The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And if a wolf comes, you see this with heroes all throughout the Bible. If a wolf comes and he takes a lamb from the sheepfold, then the good shepherd has to leave the 99 and go bring your shepherd's staff, in this case, Glock 19, M4 flat top. And go with your rod and your staff and rescue those sheep, in this case, the sheep of the house of Israel. So it's a privilege and it's an honor to be serving for well over 700 days, almost 2 years, consecutive deployment in an elite IDF unit called Yahalom, which is a Combat Engineer Corps elite unit for special missions like tunnels. We deal with tunnels, we deal with high stakes hostage rescue, things that the regular army is not trained for. Black Hawk missions and all kinds of stuff. But I'm also chairman of a charity, just to get to know you guys a little bit better, of the Aliyah Return Center. I'll share a little bit more about that later. My charity, you can Google it, aliyahreturncenter.com. But guys, I've been sharing, some of my journey for these days, every single day. I've shared, stories of war, stories of funerals, burying friends, miracles, God's mercy. And that's what I want to talk about, is God's mercy. Also we have the Faithful Galileans charity, that's advocacy for Israel, and to really show the prophetic significance of what God's doing in these hard times, but these prophetic times that we knew would come, and we have to be about it. We got to be about. We have to. The way I word it is just mankind, the human race, is on a collision course with Jerusalem. We have to make our peace with Jerusalem, with Israel. We have to understand God's heart for Israel and what does heaven look like. I mean, it's not just a cloud, right? It's not just some harps. I'm sure there's harps. It says there's harps. But heaven is those gates of the New Jerusalem, okay? And it's just beautiful. Every gate has on top of it a tribe: Manasseh, Zebulun, Judah, right? You're going to meet and you're going to see the Galileans. I'm a Galilean. I live at the Sea of Galilee, a modern Galilean. Born originally in the United States, came to Israel as a young boy and made Aliyah. But there, of course, we help new immigrants. We help the people in need, Arabic and Hebrew speakers. We take care of everybody that's in need. But fighting in this war is not glorious. Not at all. It's miserable. It's horrible. Yet God's grace is greater than every situation. Even in the Holocaust, you could say, listen, God is going to turn this around. God is going to bring us to our own land. That's a hope. The hope we all hold on to is God's will is greater than what we go through, right? And there's really a miserable reality of war. It's not, of course it's a war of self-defense. Of course it's a righteous war of self-defense to defend the sheep of Israel, to rescue our brothers and sisters from the tunnels of terror and torture. And it's been horrible. But you have to know that it's necessary to stand and defend, and that's why it's the Israel Defense Force. But really what I wanted to say really is that as a soldier, I have aches in my body, no sleep. You got the heavy vest, the bulletproof vest. You miss birthdays. Your children don't see you so much. Your business struggles. You're losing money. You realize some people are getting divorced just because it's such a strain. Funerals of friends, PTSD. There's grieving mothers, grieving fathers. I can't imagine what it is. My son's bar mitzvah age almost. That's 13 for boys, 12 for girls. And I can't imagine what would be like for some of these parents to have to bury their own children. Just because they are standing in the gap, and the enemy, the gruesome enemy, has just no regard for human life, not even for their own people. It's funny to notice that Israel truly cares more about protecting the Gazans, their lives, than Hamas does. They use them as human shields, of course, and we give them every notice to beware. we're going to remove this building. We're going to remove this tunnel. We're going to remove this infrastructure. It's not going to be used against us. No snipers are allowed to be climbing up in these buildings. We're taking them down. And we know that God is defending Israel, and against all odds. I mean, I remember when our charity got different supplies and gave them to soldiers that were in need. We gave helmets, tactical helmets. I gave a helmet to this one guy. He goes forward, bullet hits him in the back of the helmet. But you know what? It bounced off, and I said, "Is that a miracle, or is that what the helmet's supposed to do?" So I thought, I want to see something bigger. Give a bulletproof vest, which these are expensive, and sometimes we're missing them. Sometimes you're missing those essentials. And I gave it to this soldier. He gets shot here. It's like getting punched in the chest. He was fine. And I say, is that a miracle, or is it not? I said, God, I want everyone to remember that there is a God of Israel alive today and active, defending his land, not slumbering nor sleeping, defending Israel and preserving his nation. Like in Psalms 2, why do the nations rage and the people imagine a vain thing? And they set themselves, against the Lord's anointed and saying, we will destroy Jerusalem, we'll destroy Israel. That's what Psalms 2 is talking about. And God will laugh and he'll say, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but I got this. I'm watching out for my people. I'm not giving up on them. And so you look at all this and you see, man, it's a very spiritual thing. This war, it's a very spiritual thing. We've got to go a little deeper into what's going on. And so I was praying for a miracle, just so the world would see there is a God in Israel. And suddenly Iran attacks. There was one girl who noticed there was a system error in our aerial defense. And she goes and she uses a telescope and she sees, wow, the sky is filled with missiles from Iran. And so what happens is that those missiles were shot. She had to reset the system, and she was able to do it before those missiles came upon us. So that's just amazing. And then, of course, the way we were able to take out those missiles in the air, nothing short of a miracle, nothing short of miraculous, that those missiles were shot out. And, of course, America helped, and even Jordan helped. And then, of course, God's just given us supernatural ability to push back in Syria, the enemy, to push back in Lebanon, where I was, southern Lebanon, push back the Hezbollah, push back the Houthis, Ansar Allah they're called, in Yemen, down the Red Sea there, push them back. And so we see the same in Qatar. We see the same throughout with Hamas and Islamic Jihad and Izz-al-Din al-Qassam, all the enemies. It's just like ISIS, just like Al-Qaeda. Americans know the name Al-Qaeda because of what they did to you guys in 9/11. But what it is we're dealing with something that's deep, I think, and very, very deep. We had not that long ago, I'm just remembering, our guys are attacked by with 8 grenades came at us, 8 grenades, and what happens? 8 grenades, only 2 of them explode. Is that an accident? Is that just a by chance that happened? No, it's a miracle, I believe. That would happen, that we were able to intercept. We keep on preempting and intercepting. It doesn't mean that people don't perish, but it's truly a time where I feel Israel's hearing the whisper of God. Israel lives because I live. Israel remains because I remain. And it's since the time of David, when the enemies would try to destroy Israel, he says to the giant Goliath, you're mocking the God of Israel. We know that one day, Zechariah 12, I know that one day, 12 verse 2, you can turn there, that it's like Jerusalem's going to be like a heavy stone for the nations, and they're going to injure themselves if they try to hurt Jerusalem. Zechariah 14, all the nations, verse 2 as well, all these nations are going to gather against, and God is going to defend us. The Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38 and 39. God intervenes when these nations, and I know people are asking me a lot, you love this monologue? Can I keep going? You guys listening? Okay, I'm going to keep going. Thank you, everybody, for letting me share. People are asking, when is Armageddon? And I say, don't worry about when it is. It'll happen. Worry about what side of Armageddon you and your family, your legacy will be on. What side, and there's a time still of grace right now, a throne of grace, where people, it's like a soldier. As a soldier, I need cover, air cover. You could almost hear some You can hear some of that going over our heads right now, by the way. You need air cover. You need air cover too, okay? You need to make sure that you're a team and you're standing together, not bickering one with another, not trying to, holier than thou, somebody, you're all a team. You gotta watch each other's backs, and especially as an elite soldier, you've got to do it. And these days, almost 2 years straight, consecutive deployment, have shown me how important it is to be a team together, to have that cover, to have that supply from that tree of life. The book of Enoch calls it the fragrant tree. And chapter 25, first Enoch, chapter 25. Anyway, my point is that never mind when Gog and Magog is, which is in Jerusalem, or when Armageddon is in the Megiddo Valley, that's in the Galilee, different war. Don't worry about exactly when it is. Worry about what side of that you and your family, what part of your where will your legacy stand? Joel 3 says these nations are going to get judged for trying to divide Israel, trying to think they know better than what the Bible says, better than the promises, better than the covenants that God has declared. I mean, how dumb can people be to try to go against what God has clearly said concerning the land of Israel, or try to say, no, these people aren't really Israel. Hey, we're Jewish people. Oh, no, you're not really. You guys are like the fake ones or something. Why did no one told Hitler, hey, you killed 6 million of the fake ones? No one told Iran, hey, you're shooting missiles on the fake Israel. Go shoot another place where the real Israel is. No. It's foolishness, the kind of deceit. Didn't the great Galilean rabbi, the greatest Galilean rabbi that ever lived, did he not teach, do not be deceived in these times, in the times at hand? Do not be deceived. Why? Because even the very elect would be deceived. And about what? About basic things. And some people can't figure out what a man or a woman is, what a male or a female is. So I don't have high expectations, but that was a little jab. But my point is, look, we got to be able to have that cover, approach that throne of grace, and just like a team, be a team, and with confidence to go before that throne of mercy. When we have no strength left, I feel God has supernaturally supplied us with strength. There's coming a day of the fullness of the nations, fullness of Israel. There's coming a great redemption. We call it Geulah. The great redemption is coming. And there's these false goals being pushed, not good goals. Every billionaire in this world, I don't know who's the top names. All these billionaires can't buy their way into the covenant of salvation. They can't buy their way in. It's literally those who have made the choice, say, do or die, I'm going to enter in. I'm going to be written in that book. I'm going to be on the right side of history. And we're coming to a time, I think, where we're going to see like Acts 5, like an Ananias and Sapphira situation, where God's like, no, I'm not putting up with this. I've given grace, and I believe we're at that place where grace is still abounds. But we are going to get to that place where God's like, I'm purifying my team. I'm recording some names. I'm blotting out some names. I'm blotting some names out, whatever that means, whatever that looks like. And heaven is coming to earth, and God's got his plan, and he's got his destiny, and his mercy is new every morning. It says in the sorrow, in the lamentations of it all. So, the righteous have a legacy, and it awaits you. You're not overlooked. Your value is eternal. What you do now has eternal impact. The fragrant tree awaits, the tree of life, So that's what we're doing here. We're doing this Aliyah Return Center. You can check it out. I spell it Aliyah, Aliyah. What's that word? It means the great return of the Jewish people to the promised land. Aliyah. I made Aliyah when I was young. Can I tell you my story real quick? Real fast? I know I've talked kind of long. Let me just quickly give you my story. I was in America, 15-year-old. We're a family of 8 of us. We were the wandering Hebrews in America, in Canada. Kind of like hippies a little bit. And what happens is we're talking about Aliyah to the promised land. We're working on this tank. Talking about Aliyah to the promised land. And we didn't have the money. I said to my dad, are we even going to really move to the Middle East? You have to join the army there. We don't want to do that. You have to live in now I'm in the Galilee, the green, beautiful, fresh water of the Galilee. But right now I'm in the desert. But I'm saying, when are we going to move to Israel? We need a sign from God. Maybe I'm going to get some sheep's wool, put it outside. If it's nice and wet and everywhere else is dry, like Gideon's story, then we'll move to Aliyah. We'll move to Israel and make Aliyah. Okay? It's a very spiritual thing. You know it says 700 times in the Bible? 700 times. I'm going to say that really clearly. 700 times that God will gather the Jewish people to the promised land. That the promise of the promised land is still true. So what it is, as I said, let's go get that sheep's wool. Lanolin it's called. And so, but before that, we go to a meeting. In this meeting walks a guy and he says, I've got a sign from God for this family of eight of you. I got a sign for you. And we're like, a sign? Ooh, is it sheep's wool? And he's like, hold out your hands in front of everybody, in front of hundreds of people. My dad holds out his hands and he places a satchel of gold coins in my dad's hands. He's like, this is for your Aliyah. This is a sign. It's Aliyah gold. We sell everything. We move to Israel. We immigrate to Israel. And of course, the hard part isn't getting on a plane and saying goodbye. That's hard. But the real hard part is living in the Middle East and learning Hebrew and learning how to, those little Lego blocks, those are called letters. Those are actually words. Hebrew. It's an ancient language. You got to learn it. You got to do business. You got to support your family. You got to serve in the army. So what it is we came and we made Aliyah, and that's how I got here. I was given gold. Okay, given gold. It's amazing. Only later did I learn God promises that would happen. Gold and silver. You see that with King Cyrus, and I think America is like a Cyrus country. Cyrus country. You know, Trump is like a Cyrus, which is established to help Israel, help build the international house of prayer called the temple, to help, in the Middle East, to help to restore the land and people of Israel, to help the Jewish people return. That's what Cyrus did. I think the same is true about America has a Cyrus anointing, and with that, he gave gold and silver. He gave 127 nations under King Cyrus, those little provinces under him, gave gold and silver, and they built the temple with that. Even before that, you have the Egyptians. They gave gold and silver, and we built the tabernacle with it in the desert. So we're helping now. We're helping immigrants that have nowhere to go. We've got guest houses for them to stay a couple weeks. We've got furniture distribution, containers, shipping containers come in. We distribute, there's a soup kitchen there we help at. There's Hebrew school. We have 70 people in our Hebrew school. Business integration training, a whole bunch of cool stuff. We're trying to build a 5-story hotel, which will be for you can stay there. Immigrants can stay for free, but you got to pay because that's how we're going to work it. And anyway, it's going to be fun. We also have the discipleship school over in the Faithful Galileans. That's the place where people are trained as ambassadors. They come and they stay, they pray, they learn, they serve. It's like a volunteer program. It's kind of like YWAM maybe. But the important thing is people really, their lives are changed. And all nations will flow to Zion, to the promised land. It says that. They're going to come here. They're going to meet the King. And it's the future that I think we need to align ourselves with that. Isaiah 49 verse 22, it says, God's going to raise his hand in an oath to the nations, to you. And you're going to bring the Jewish people in their arms, their daughters, the Jewish daughters on your shoulders to the promised land. Read it, Isaiah 49 verse 22, turn there now. This isn't just a monologue for no reason. It's a monologue, but I'm going to wrap up. I want you to read that and say, it's not just my calling. It's it's everyone's calling to be part of the team as anti-Semitism rises. Look what's going on. People getting shot in the street in Jerusalem. People getting beat up in the Western world. Parades that are praising terror in all over the place. Why don't you go check out ChaimMailspin.com. Chaim, spelled Chaim, that's my name. Chaim, when you raise a glass, you say l'chaim, to life. I guess you would say cheers. They say skol in Scandinavian countries. Point is, go to Chaim Mailspin, Chaim, then mail like man, spin like the globe, ChaimMailspin.com. And you'll see kind of what we're doing. You'll see the charities there, the link to them. You'll see the book I'm writing. You'll see that. Now, what's holding you back? Are you ready to go to the mercy seat? Are you ready to be activated into your destiny as prophecy unfolds? Prophecy is unfolding. This gathering is, how many times in the Bible does it say that God's going to gather his people? Let me see if you're listening. How many times does it say that in the Bible that God's going to gather his people? I'll send you a list. I'll send you a list of at least 64 to start out with. 700 times. Okay. If God says verily, verily, I say to you, how much more if he says verily 700 times? Okay, now's the time to enter in a world of increasing instability, and increased deception, increased terror. We need to confess with a good friend what's holding us back. Pray it through. Get rid of it. Get consecrated. Get in that book. Get in that. Look towards the future where we're going to be celebrating at the fragrant tree. This is the time to prepare, guys. We've gone through the time of the feast of Yom Teruah, okay? That's the blasting of the shofars. We've done the fasting in Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. Tabernacles, guys, tabernacles, where God will tabernacle with us. Are our tabernacles ready for this? Are we ready for what's ahead? We got to just be all in, okay? I'm not advocating for playing poker. I'm just saying be all in. Be all in, and don't be ashamed to stand with the words in these ancient Hebrew scrolls. Yeah, Gutenberg Bible wasn't the first Bible. It's called ancient Hebrew scrolls. People with beards, caves, scrolls, quills. It's like a feather. That's okay. So let's do it together. Connect with us. Write me. Go to the websites. Go to aliyahreturncenter.com. ALIYAH. Word return. The word center.com. Okay, check it out, guys. It's the enemy wants to twist things and trick you and take you away from your destiny. We're not going to let that happen. God's not going to let that happen. You're not going to let that happen. God bless you from somewhere in the Middle East.